The power of fear or the fear of power? Which is it? Gregory Burns, in his book Iconoclast, talks about how to think differently. Part of that discussion, he talks at some length about fear. Just think of fear like alcohol. It impairs judgment. You shouldn't make decisions while under its influence. It's really kind of scary how powerful fear can be. When we get triggered by something, our evolutionary traits and survival systems pretty much take over every aspect of our being. Decision making becomes severely restricted. Our amygdala takes over and we're in fight, flight, or freeze mode. And like he says, our judgment is clearly impaired. I find no small irony in the extent to which many people who drink to excess do so from a desire to break that grip of fear. And they don't call it liquid courage for nothing, right, friend? So it's one thing to consider the power of fear. What happens when we flip those words around a bit? What happens when we contemplate the fear of power? Don't we aspire to be powerful? Don't you aspire to be powerful, at least in your own life? It's said that with great power comes great responsibility. And those of us who would choose to become powerful would have to understand to what end we would exercise that power were it granted to us, or, God forbid, we went out and actually earned it. But what would you do? What would you be willing to change in order to gain the power to change the circumstances in your world that can't be changed by anyone? I'm right there with you. Needing some miracles, that is, or a time machine. Let's face it, though, for the most part, that's the land of fantasy. And we're not going to get much accomplished there. Much like we can't change the past, there are things about our present that will impact our future. Trouble is, you and I generally have a heck of a time predicting how and how much of our predictive time is colored by that fear of catastrophe. I'd have you consider that you do have the power to change some of those things, and it may be as simple as how you think about unsolvable problems that you do have. How you approach them can be terrifying. You can become paralyzed by fear, fear of rejection, fear of secrets becoming exposed, or fear of acknowledging the likely misplaced guilt and shame that you might be carrying around for mistakes of your past. It can be very scary to own that power and the responsibility to use it on ourselves to improve our circumstances. It's a huge risk. What if it doesn't work? Will people laugh at us? People call us stupid? Would you? Do you? Do you laugh at me? Do you think I'm an idiot? You can. Now, ask yourself if that matters in the slightest. There's plenty of fear porn being spread around out there these days. Doesn't matter what topic you want to pick. Question is, will you allow your fears to have power over you? Or will you take the responsibility and exercise power over your fears? There's lots of recommendations for strategies to get out of fear mode. I'm talking about healthy, constructive tactics that don't come from a chemist or a pharmacy. So if Gregory is right about fear and that it impairs us like alcohol, we shouldn't drink and decide any more than we should allow ourselves to make decisions while we're in a place of fear. I'm afraid I've said enough for tonight. You've got my take. What say you?